You are listening to the EPT Works Listen, Love, Give podcast. Hi, I'm Dr. Annette Cargioli, the Forgiveness Doctor. I'm here to help you create phenomenal health, happiness, and new life with energy, intuition, and forgiveness. In a world where emotional health is often treated with mind-altering drugs or years of talk therapy, it's time for more compassionate, imaginative initiatives in emotional health care. EPT is short for Emotional Polarity Technique, an innovative holistic emotional therapy that will change your life and health for good. You can learn more about Emotional Polarity Technique through my new book, The Forgiveness Doctor, available on Amazon.com. You can subscribe to this podcast, get free EPT training at EPTworks.com, and like us on Facebook. Welcome to podcast number 62. In this podcast, I'll be reading part 1 of chapter 9 from my book, The Forgiveness Doctor. And chapter 9 is titled EPT and Family Constellations. I grew up in a loving Christian family. My parents met at a Bible college, fell in love, and got married. I was the third child of 4 in a family that I thought was perfect. Growing up as a third child, I was positioned to be close to all of my siblings. My only brother was the oldest and only 3 years older than me. My older sister, with whom I shared a room most of my childhood, was 2 years older than me. My younger sister arrived on the scene 4 years after me. If you were to see all our family pictures and movies, you would see how much love we all shared. As we all got married and started our own families, we shared holidays and vacations together. For years, we would get together annually for a group family vacation that included our parents, spouses, and children. I loved creating this opportunity for my children to get to know my siblings and their children. Each year, our vacations got more elaborate. They started in an Illinois state park by a lake. One family camped, and the rest of us squeezed into a couple of condos. In later years, we would stay together in an enormous luxury beach house in Florida. We enjoyed this vacation routine for about 10 years. Our family pictures from these group vacations show a large, loving family having a lot of fun. Then something terrible happened. My brother and his wife decided to cut me and my older sister out of the family. I had been going through spiritual growth and had decided to change churches, and one of my sisters had made a similar choice. My brother, a minister, sent aggressive emails. He let me know I must go back to the true church, or he and his wife would have to stop talking to me and also stop eating with me. This was devastating, as well as very unexpected. Our parents were deeply hurt by all of this. They felt sad that I had changed churches, and they felt sad that my brother would not participate in family celebrations with me or my sister. I grew up in a pretty strict fundamentalist church, but I had never seen anything like this. I let my brother know that I could not do what he asked, but I hoped we would still have a relationship. He refused, and just like that, it was over. Even though we had always enjoyed closeness and friendship, my brother made it loud and clear that there would be no more holidays or vacations with the whole family. I had always loved my brother and even idolized him. Though I had seen these types of family separations, I had no idea this could happen to my family. EPT was a gift from God as I went about the business of true forgiveness. I knew that forgiveness was essential to allowing me to grieve the loss of my family. I knew that forgiveness was necessary to prevent the need for any future family members to act out in the same way as my brother. What made it difficult for me was that there were so many unanswered questions. None of it made sense. I longed to have a real conversation with my brother, but he refused. He read me a Bible study and then said goodbye. It was during this time in 2002 that I read Love's Hidden Symmetry, What Makes Love Work in a Relationship by Bert Hellinger. I'd read the book a few years earlier and thought it was an interesting viewpoint of the energy dynamics in the family system. However, after my family breakup, I found it an invaluable tool for giving me insight and peace about the loss of my family and what I had endured. The book is mostly transcripts from Bert Hellinger's workshops. Bert Hellinger is a German ex-Catholic priest who served 16 years in South Africa before leaving the priesthood and then taking training in psychoanalysis. In the 1980s, he began doing workshops in which the original family constellations took place. With the help of Hunter Beaumont and Gunther Weber, Love's Hidden Symmetry was published in 1998. It became the first book describing Hellinger's family constellation work. I was fascinated by Hellinger's organic healing approach. People would travel from all over the world to participate in his family constellation workshops. Now, this is by no means an endorsement, but the reports were that people were healed from terminal cancer as a result of a family constellation alignment conducted by and according to Bert Hellinger. He reported that when word got out about those who had been healed of certain cancer death, that motivated more and more people to attend the workshops. Not everyone who came with a cancer diagnosis healed from the cancer, but they did find great peace in having the constellation work done in their lives. This is what I was seeking. I wanted to find and feel peace in my birth family again. Even with all the losses that had occurred, I wanted some real sense of love being restored. Reading the book was like sitting at the feet of Bert Hellinger himself and watching a master at work. He taught that a family had a soul or a system. Within this system resides the social intelligence of the family, sort of the group mind. This means at some unconscious level, everyone in the family knows what is happening and why. In his book, Health, Happiness, and Family Constellations, Michael Reddy writes, "What we appear to be looking at and working with in family constellations is a collective or distributed social intelligence that has evolved to safeguard the propagation of life with love onward through generations of humans. It is in many ways subconscious." Bert taught how to tap into that group mind intelligence in order to right those things that were in conflict with the propagation of love within the family system. Every experience occurring within the family, in Bert's view, has a purpose to move the family forward into greater love. I was open to the idea that this terrible family experience I was in the midst of had a greater purpose within the social intelligence of my family, with a potential to propagate more love than I ever knew. The nuts and bolts of what Hellinger did to demonstrate how all this works and how we can use it to actually heal is very simple. His goal was to position the family members in a certain way so that divine love could flow more freely and consequently heal the family. In Bert's most basic family constellation setup of a nuclear family, the father and mother were placed side by side with the father on the right. Facing them, he placed their children in the order of oldest to youngest, going from left to right. He taught that the energy of love flowed down from divine through the father into the mother, and then through the children, oldest to youngest. In this position, love could flow more freely. By restoring the family to this basic setup, the family could experience love more easily. In other words, love is easier when everyone is in their God-given space in the family. Bert Hellinger taught it is love that heals the family, and there is love in every family. It's just that when individuals in a family are not honoring their God-given space within the family, it is harder for love to flow. In his workshops, a participant would volunteer to have his family constellation done. The participant would explain the physical or family problem they wished to heal. For example, I was diagnosed with cancer 6 months ago, and now they tell me I have only 2 months to live. Hellinger would then list the person's family members, often including those deceased, on a writing board. For example, Bill, my dad; Agatha, my mom; Brenda, my sister; Timmy, my brother, who died at age 3. Audience members would then volunteer to represent each of the family members listed. Bert would instruct the family representatives to move into a place that feels comfortable for them. Bert would take a look at the scattered family. Sometimes he would just ask a family member if he could take his rightful place. If the family member could not take his place, Bert would ask him why. Even though the representatives did not know the people they were representing, they had an intuitive sense about why they couldn't take their right place. Bert would sometimes move a family representative to face another family representative just to see what energy showed up between them. His ultimate goal was to uncover the story held within the system and then to prompt representatives to speak specific words of forgiveness, love, honor, and respect as a way of righting and reorganizing the scattered system. As I read the transcripts of family constellations he facilitated, I was astonished. He seemed to use sheer intuition as the guide for having family representatives say the exact words needed to induce an actual emotional collapse of representatives in the system. Following the collapse, family representatives could easily step into their rightful place. In this way, the family system moved from disorder into order. All of this was done just to let the love flow more freely and heal the family now and for future generations. As volunteers took on the roles they were representing, they were able to accurately connect to the emotional energy, mannerisms, and motivations of the family members they represented. It was as though they knew them and were actually bringing them to life. In the workshop transcripts, there are comments by the audience volunteers about how they were also surprised at how easy it was to pick up impressions of someone's family member they had never met. These intuitive impressions helped to uncover the family story behind the disordered family. By changing the emotional energy within the system, the entire system realigned for greater love. As a chiropractor, I understood how a spinal misalignment can stop the flow of energy from the brain to the body and vice versa, causing all manner of pain and dysfunction in the body. Chiropractors are trained to identify where a spinal misalignment is blocking the flow of energy and to open it back up so that the body can function better and feel better. Family constellations look to me like a misalignment within the family that was causing all manner of pain and dysfunction. Bert had tapped into a way to identify misalignment within a family system and to realign it. In doing this, he opened the love in the family to flow more freely. The most surprising part was how this family energy alignment could immediately make changes to individuals in the system, even if those individuals were not physically present. Simply opening the flow of love allowed the family to function better and feel better. The pain from my recent family loss was still palpable. I hoped a family constellation would answer my questions and give me insight from the social intelligence of my family system. Maybe in the process it would help everyone feel better. I decided to do a family constellation that included my parents, me, my sisters, my brother, and his wife. The loss of my family was still fresh when I assembled my 4 oldest children and asked them if they would like to try out a new healing concept. I explained to them that it might help all of us feel better about the family situation with my brother and his family. They were all in. First, I listed the family members by name: dad, mom, brother, sister, me, sister, and brother's wife. I wrote each name on a sticky name tag, and each child took one. My 17-year-old Paige took my brother's name tag. Reese, age 13, took my brother's wife's name tag. 11-year-old Dana took my older sister's name tag. Adam, age 15, took my younger sister's name tag. I took the other 3 name tags, me, mom, and dad. I told my family representatives, aka my kids, that they just needed to tune into the feelings they were experiencing as they were representing another person. Having never done anything like this, none of us really knew what was right or wrong or what to expect. I instructed each one to be who they were representing and to look at each of the other family members being represented, taking into account how they might feel differently in relationship with another. Instantly, my daughter Paige, representing my brother, knew she did not like me. I walked toward her and said I just wanted to talk. She said it felt terrible, and if she could run out of the room, she would. She asked me to keep my distance so that she could feel more comfortable. I tried putting different family members in front of each other to see how my representatives might feel about different family members. Although my kids were brand new at this game, they were quite impressed at how easy it was to know thoughts or feelings of the person they were representing. I was able to ask questions to my brother through my daughter who represented him. I was able to soothe the energy of my parents by helping them to forgive my brother and me. Although my brother had claimed a religious reason for his separation of our family, in this constellation, Paige sensed that he just had a problem with me. He didn't know why. He just wanted me out. I actually gained some peace knowing that even he didn't know why he didn't like me and wanted me out. At least I wasn't the only one without answers. In that first constellation, I was so fascinated by the way my family members were brought to life in my children. I was only able to get information and do a little forgiveness. I wasn't skilled yet at bringing the disorder to order. I went back to the book and studied it some more. Again, Bert Hellinger just seemed to know exactly who to move and what needed to be forgiven in order to get the family representatives back into proper alignment. I figured out that I could not learn to operate the way Bert operated in those workshops. So I decided to synthesize EPT into the art of bringing the disordered into order in a family constellation. Here's the family constellation basics. Allow the family representatives to show the current order of the family as represented by their positioning with the others. Speak the words of love, forgiveness, and respect that allows the family representatives to take their proper alignment. Once the family representatives have moved to their correct place in the alignment, the love can flow more freely and heal the family. Imagine a group of total strangers posing as the members of your birth family. Each has a name tag on so you know who they are representing. Chairs are set up in the order that will allow the flow to flow more freely. Dad and Mom's empty chairs are side by side, and there are 2 empty chairs facing them for you and your brother. After being assigned their role, the individuals in this group are instructed to position themselves in the room where they are most comfortable. They start by moving around to sense where they feel the calmest in this group of strangers. As they move about, they also take note of the other players and how they feel about each of them. Once the group settles down to each of their respective positions, you notice that Mom and Dad are looking away from each other. Your brother is as far away from the group as possible and is postured in a very familiar pose to you, but not to the representative posing as him. The representative posing as you stands in the place between your parents and reports that she feels very sad, like crying. This is the start of a family constellation. No one is in the right position. The chairs are empty and the players are spread out. The goal of the facilitator is to get everyone to feel comfortable enough to move to their chair, taking their rightful place in the family. Representatives can only move into the right space if they sense or feel it is all right for them to do so. Sometimes it is helpful for a representative to ask himself if it's okay for Joe, the dad in this family, to take his rightful space in the family. Or a facilitator may ask if it's okay for Joe, the dad in this family, to move into his rightful space. Questions are asked about feelings and thoughts as though the actual family member is there. In a basic family alignment, the people with the most power and importance are moved into position first. Dad is first, and then mom. The oldest to youngest children follow. It is done this way because most of the time, when the leadership in the family or other group is holding the lead position strong, almost everyone else automatically gets into their space. In families where kids are in chaos, it is usually because dad and or mom are not holding their space. I have seen children who are rebellious and difficult become calm and helpful once parents are restored to their rightful place within a constellation. Family constellations can reveal the hidden energy dynamics that are blocking the flow of love in the family. Sometimes it may seem that one person in the family acts out, making everyone else suffer. A family constellation will reveal the hidden energy framework existing within the family that is supporting the family member who is acting out. Once the energy dynamic is revealed through the disordered positioning of the family members, EPT can be used to quickly restore the order. As the family constellation story unfolds, you gain greater insight of your family dynamics and the thoughts and motivations of individuals within your family. With this new insight, you gain greater peace, clarity, and order within your family system. Thanks for listening. You can learn more about emotional polarity technique through my book, The Forgiveness Doctor, available at Amazon.com. Next week, I'll read the second half of Chapter 9. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, like us on Facebook, and go get your free EPT training at EPTworks.com. I'm Dr. Annette Cardioli, the Forgiveness Doctor, sharing with you a more imaginative initiative in emotional health care. Until next time, listen, love, give. EPT works.